ng ating gobyerno.
Parang yun, kaduda-duda. Bakit ginamit yung PhilHealth funds para sa foreign assisted projects na iba-iba naman ang pakay, hindi naman necessarily para lamang sa kalusugan. So, eto ang problema dyan. At isa pa, kailangan sumunod din tayo, tumalima rin tayo dun sa judgment ng ating Korte Suprema na sabihin kung saan na naman gagamitin itong panibagong 60 billion. Siguro, liwanagin ng DOH. Sabi ng Korte Suprema na specific benefits and packages to be expanded. So dapat ilista na rin nila yung 2026. Wag lang natin ibigay yung 60 billion as refund. Bahala na kung anong breakdown at kung saan-saan na naman. Baka maligaw na naman 13 billion. Walang ganyanan.
Tama po, Madam Chair, yung sinabi ni Senator Amy. This was done before the Supreme Court decision at nag-decide na po yung Supreme Court na talagang mali. Kaya sinosoli po natin. And to the other point that was raised by Senator Amy, ganito rin po ang ginawa ng ating chair during the budget deliberation nung DOH na siya mismo nag-question and I had a hard time defending the budget kasi pinressure po niya talaga ng ating chair yung PhilHealth to come up with specific packages nang sa ganon ay agarang maramdaman ng ating mga beneficiary. So tama po kayo and hopefully ay naririnig po ito ng ating liderato ng PhilHealth para maglabas na po ng mga malinaw at expanded na health packages.
Salamat po. Chairman Gatchalian, pwede bang i-require yan sa PhilHealth na yung 60 billion, medyo may breakdown konti?
Mr. Chair?
Yung rinimit sa DOF?
Yes.
Yeah,
Kasi yun ang sabi ng Korte Suprema. Asan yung specific?
Yeah, actually, meron silang submission sa atin ng DOF kung saan nila ginamit. We can furnish Her Honor about
That's the past po. But since we're going to be allocating anew in the 2026 GAA, pwede bang ilista rin nila yung 60 billion kung saan nila igagastos yun?
We'll request PhilHealth to give us a breakdown.
Yeah. Sen Win, if I may respond. Senator Amy, actually medyo grinil ko po yung PhilHealth with regard to that. Nagkainitan nga po kami at around 12 midnight during the deliberations. I actually asked them to do an actuarial study because they keep on telling us that it's all going to just ensuring that they are operable. Sabi ko, hindi. Dapat i-expand nyo yung benefits package ninyo. Dapat gamitin yan para ibaba yung premium contributions ng members. Dapat bayaran ninyo yung accountability ninyo sa hospital. Hindi po sila makakommit. So, I've been asking for that data po from PhilHealth for the last since September, actually. Since mid-September. And until now po, they're not able to give that information.
Salamat, Chair. Kung maaari, isama na natin sa budget. Malaki-laki yung 60 billion. Bakit hindi ibiyak yan? Mamaya, mapunta naman sa kung saan-saan government counterpart ng FAPS na hindi natin alam at walang kinalaman sa kalusugan ng ating mga kababayan.
Tama, Mr.
Hindi
Chair.
naman tama yun.
We'll recognize Senator Pia. Yeah. Merong special provision actually to kung saan paggagamitan yung 60 billion, but we'll allow Senator Pia to elaborate on that and also on the PhilHealth issue.
Mr. Chairman, just a very short response on that matter. The health advocates would actually prefer that there are no specifics on how that would be used. That the PhilHealth board would be able to make that determination. We do have a special provision which is still very general in nature. It's a continuous implementation of the zero balance billing, introduction and scale-up of benefit packages for catastrophic and high-cost conditions, expansion of coverage for outpatient, implementation of the DRG. Ito yung DRG yung papalit na sa case rates. So, ganun ka-general naman yung special provisions natin. And to be clear, it says including but not limited to. We just want these provisions, which are already programs of PhilHealth, to be implemented. Anyway.
Gusto ko lang maliwanagin dahil mabuti na nakikinig yung taong bayan na yung 60 billion ng PhilHealth na yan, this conference will deny exactly where it went yung pera. Hindi po sa Facebook nababasa mo na itong 60 billion ginamit sa flood control. Yan lang po ang gusto kong idagdag, na hindi po ito pumunta sa flood control. In fact, 79% of which was used in health facilities and yung mga salaries ng back wages ng mga health workers. Only 21.6% was used doon sa foreign funded project, which the executive will have to explain. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair.
That was to be clear, what His Honor is referring to is the 60 billion that was removed. Yung binabanggit ko naman is the 60 billion that we are now appropriating. I'm making it very clear that pursuant with the Supreme Court ruling na ibalik sa PhilHealth, nasa PhilHealth yon, and then we put a few guidelines na gastusin ito ng PhilHealth not limited to the following. Yung binanggit ko ng mga zero balance billing, yung papalit sa case rates, yung DRG. Pero tama naman po kayo, yung dati, yun ang hindi natin kagagawan, doon nila ginastos.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Representative Brian Yamsuan.
Tingin ko ang PhilHealth din, kailangan magkaroon sila ng malawakang information drive. Kasi madalas, hindi alam ng mga tao, kahit PhilHealth member, kung ano yung mga pwede nilang makuha ang mga benepisyo. Minsan hindi nasasabi sa ating taong bayan, gaya nung yakap, 20,000 worth of free medicines for PhilHealth member, pero walang nakakaalam. Pag binabanggit, kunyari kami, bilang mga representante ng distrito, babanggitin namin sa aming mga constituents, doon lang nila malalaman. Pero yung PhilHealth itself, wala silang conscious effort to promote and to say all the programs that are available for PhilHealth members. And I think yun ang kailangan nating i-push din sa kanila, to have that honest to goodness information drive that people will really know kung ano yung mga benepisyo na talagang makukuha nila sa kanilang ahensya.
Mr. Chair, let me add to
Senator
that.
Erwin,
The problem with PhilHealth, Mr. Chair, with all these benefits, they do not have this information drive. Hindi po nakakarating sa mga kababayan natin, ika nga, dahil kulang po sila. I don't know why. We have been proposing that since I was still in Congress last year, talking to the different PhilHealth chairmen, pero hindi po nila ginagawa. So that is the problem. Hindi ho, alam mga kabayan, kagaya yung mga i-consulta na yan, at saka yung mga hospitals, kung ano yung mga pwede silang pumunta roon, but they don't know. Kailangan pa tama naman na, Mr. Chair, si Congressman Yamsuan, kailangan pa sabihin kung saan sila pupunta. Dapat trabaho po ng PhilHealth. Their problem is they don't have this information dissemination, a proper information dissemination, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Thank you for those comments. So we move to the next.
So, Mr. Chairman, can
yes.
I now take the floor? Because I was just responding.
All right.
I
Okay.
yes,
Yes,
thank
we
you.
exercise, Senator Pia.
Thank you. I just wanted to take this opportunity because Senator Amy already mentioned that 60 billion. So I will just take this opportunity to once again, and to my colleagues who have heard me speak about this so many times, you can take a break, you can take a bathroom break, you can tune out, you can use your cell phone because I am saying this for the 100th time for the sake of the public kasi I think all of our colleagues here have the same position. This is about the sin tax collection. So by law, under the sin tax law, there is a mandate that the collection be earmarked for PhilHealth. Ang ibig po sabihin nun, mga kababayan, earmark, unlike karamihan ng revenue ng gobyerno, walang earmarking yun, pupunta lang yun sa treasury. So lahat ng nakukuhang revenue treasury. Pero itong revenue na nanggagaling sa sin tax, yan po ay earmark. Ang ibig sabihin nun, nakaisang tabi yun in a separate fund, merong specific na paggagamitan. Ang paggagamitan nun is PhilHealth. So, in 2023, I'll just go back kasi we passed the law in 2022. It became effective by way of the sin tax collection in 2023. In our General Appropriation Act, itong budget na pinapasa natin in 2023, 79 billion yung na-appropriate sa sin tax. and it is lacking it is lacking by 4.9 billion because the total sin tax earmark in 2023 was 83.90 billion. Kulang ng 4.9. Nasaan? Hindi ko alam. Nalunod, na flood control, hindi ko alam. 2023 po yun. In 2024, the sin tax earmarked amount was 79 billion. What was in the NEP was 80.28, so nadagdagan pa ng konti. And what was in the General Appropriations Act was 40.28 na bawasan. So ang deficit is 38.73 billion. I repeat, this is earmarked. There is no basis in law for this amount to be used anywhere else, even if it is for a legitimate purpose. Walang naka-earmark na sin tax para sa ibang purpose. Ito po ay dapat nasa PhilHealth. Kulang ng 38.73 billion in 2024. In 2025, the sin tax earmarked amount was 69.81 billion. Ang nasa NEP is 53.13 billion. Ang nasa GAA is 0. So ang kulang is the whole amount, 69.81 billion. Nawawala, nasaan? Nasaan? So yung mga tanong natin, makasamahan natin, Senator Amy, na 60B, yung dun pa lang sa tinanggal, pero before that, 4.9, 38.73, 69.81, where is it? It is earmarked for PhilHealth. So, in the earlier discussion where pinag-uusapan ng MAIP, ang dami natin pambayad. We would not have to have this discussion because the funding is available by law. So, I move on. In 2026, which is ngayon, ang earmark is 69.78 billion. Magkano ang nasa NEP? 53.26 billion. Ano kulang? 16.52 billion. We have the power. Ladies and gentlemen, tayo dito. Huwag na natin gayahin yung 2023, 2024, and 2025 GAA. We have the power to reinstate the 16.52 billion. In the past 4 years, let's do the right thing for this 1 year. And this will address the very same questions that you were all raising earlier on the lack of funding for medical assistance. Okay, so I rest my case kasi clear yan. Ang total yan is 129.96 billion for the past 4 years. 129.96. I'm not done. Also earmark, kaya magkape ka pa, Chairman. Also earmarked are revenues from PCSO and PAGCOR. Iba naman yung batas na to, pero it is also earmarked. Uulitin ko, very clear na tatanggalin yung pondo na revenue ng PCSO and PAGCOR, isang tabi para sa PhilHealth. Ang nakalagay lang, kasi ibang batas to, nakalagay doon subject, and I am paraphrasing, but basically it reads something like subject to the usual accounting, budgeting, and auditing principles. O yun daw. O nasan? Wala. Zero. Ibig sabihin sa apat na since 2019 pa ang PCSO. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 7 freaking years. Walang pumasa sa auditing ni piso. That amount, dear colleagues, is 106.95 billion. Earmarked. Where is that? Where is it? It's floating with the flood control projects. Now, what year was that? 2022, 2 years na sila. There were 2 years, I think it was 2022 and 2023, basta, there were 2 years, wow, nakapasok sa GAA yung earmark ng PCSO and PAGCOR. So pinasa natin. Guess what? Never na-release. That amount was 21.17 in 2024 and 21.17 in 2023. Never released, but it was in the GAA. So, dear colleagues, that is our situation, and I will now wrap it up. That total amount plus the diverted funds. So, 129 billion is the sin tax collection that was never, the sin tax deficit. 106.95 is the earmark for PCSO and PAGCOR for 2019 to 2025. And then the diverted funds of 60 billion, if you add that all up, it's 296.91 billion. Almost 1/3 of a trillion. But of course, we will now reduce 60B because for all intents and purposes, we have all agreed that yung 60B ibabalik. So, 236.91 billion ang kulang, Mr. President. So, lahat ng diskusyon natin, kulang ang Medical Assistance Fund, yung ZBB na nagugulat yung mga tao, yung ating kayo po, mga colleagues natin who are very active on the ground. Ang dami sigurong mga mayor nyo, mga barangay captain nyo na nagtanong, bakit yung LGU hospital ninyo, walang ZBB, bakit may balancing hinihingi sa kanila? And it was only later na ipapaliwanag ng DOH sa atin na it is only DOH hospitals, if you recall that explanation. But with this kind of funding, we can do more. What we did was we put 1 billion for DOH to give LGUs. But you know that that won't go that far. But with 236 billion, that will go far. That will reach the far areas of your barangays. Congressman Pipito, di ba? Sa'yo din, Congressman Abet, sa ating lahat. So, that is where we are. I rest my case, but I will also point out that PhilHealth also by law is supposed to subsidize the contributions for the indirect contributors. Ito po yung mga hindi nakakabayad like certain solo parents, PWDs. So walang nabigay na pondo dyan. Eh magagamit na talaga tong earmarked amounts specifically for this purpose. So, what is my appeal? Why not the whole amount? O sabihin yung sobrang laki, then in the Senate has been discussing possibility of a 3-year plan. Maybe the chairman can expound on that. But for me, let's do the right thing this year. The 16.52 billion should be included so that for the first time, masabi naman na in this Congress, we upheld the law that we ourselves passed, the sin tax law. So 16.52 billion yung kulang po this year. Yun lang po, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much to everyone for your patience. I know all of my colleagues here, they have participated in our discussions on this. So kasama na sila dyan, seconding, thirding the motion on this. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, yes, short lang. Mr. Chair, can I be recognized?
Yes, Senator Lauren.
Thank you, Senator Pia, for putting that on record. Yes, we discussed that in plenary, and I was hoping that at least a 16B would be completed and we could find it in the BICAM. Unfortunately, it looks like it cannot be completed because it should have been in the NEP, diba? It should have been in the NEP. But what the NEP of 2027 can do is to include the whole 129.96B. I hope, and we're serving notice to the executive to put that in the president's budget of 2027 so that yung kulang sa NEP as discussed by Senator Cayetano would be complete. So thank you for putting that on record. I'm sure our colleagues in the House agree. And kung ganyang karami ang pondo ng PhilHealth, hindi na kailangan mag-beg ang mga ma-ifip o pagpasok sa ospital at yung 10% na tinatawag na indirect members or the invisible sector, lahat na ng facilities sana libre na lang. Hindi na kailangan pipila pa sa guarantee letter. Yun naman ang gusto natin lahat mangyari, di ba? Oo. So,
Mr. Chairman,
that's it.
Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, I agree with Senator Cayetano. This is law. And law, under the rule of law regime, we should follow the law. So first, but what has happened before, because of fiscal space, may be difficult. But what you'd like to agree to and propose is what Senator Cayetano is saying, that at least for this year, we do it right. And how much is that again, Senator? We add
16.52 billion.
16.52. And I therefore so move that we will do it right this time following the earmark amounts, which can never be given to other purposes, but should always be to PhilHealth. And so therefore, that is what we would like to do, Mr. Chairman, to make the right thing at this moment. Now, for 2027, let us see if we have fiscal space for 126 back amounts of the amounts earmarked by law, not given to PhilHealth. But this year, I think we should do this, Senator Pia, is urging us to do what is right. I support the good senator. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that very important discussion. So we move to the Department of Health. These are the budgetary support to government corporations.
Thank you very much, Sen Win. On the part of the House, under the Long Center of the Philippines, we move to retain, the HGAB version retains the NEP levels at 918.8 million. For the National Kidney and Transplant Institute, the HGAB reflects the same amount as the NEP at 1.51. For the Philippine Children's Medical Center, the House proposes to increase it by 150 million pesos, thereby increasing the amount to 1.8 billion pesos. And for the Philippine Heart Center, the HGAB reflects the same amount as the NEP at 2.42 billion. And for the Philippine Institute of Traditional Alternative Healthcare, the HGAB reflects the same amount as the NEP at 174 million pesos.
Thank you, Chair Mika. For the Senate, and I'm pleased to inform everyone, these are all the interventions of our Vice Chairperson, Senator Pia Cayetano. So I'll just mention the proposals from the Senate. Lung Center of the Philippines, 2.7 billion pesos, broken down as follows. Hospital Services Program, 1.7 billion pesos. Implementation of Advanced Lung Integrated Interventions and Networking for Comprehensive Endoscopy, Alliance Care Program, 50 million pesos. Establishment of the Integrated Robotic Surgery, IROS, and Endoscopic Center, 200 million pesos. Advancement of Biobanking Phase 3, 50 million pesos. Procurement of Linear Accelerator, LINAC, 400 million pesos. Procurement of Position Emission Tomography, Computed Tomography, PET CT Scanner, 320 million pesos. For the National Kidney and Transplants Institute, 3.2 billion pesos, broken down as follows. Hospital Services Program, 2.3 billion pesos. Construction of an outpatient services building capability, 400 million pesos. For Philippine, tama ba? Anong dalawa ito? Sorry, there's a misprint. I think for the construction of an outpatient service building is 500 million pesos. Ano ito? Yeah, merong isa pa. Hindi na print mabuti. Linear, tama? Ayan, the procurement of a linear accelerator with stereotatic body radiotherapy. Tama ba? 400 million pesos, no? All right. For the Philippine Children's Medical Center, 3.5 billion pesos, broken down as follows. Procurement of medical equipment, 200 million pesos. Construction of a new building phase 200 million pesos. Renovation of old building phase 200 million pesos. Completion of Eskwelahang Munti, 10 million pesos. Harmonization Initiative, MITHI, 595 million pesos. Hospital Services Program, 2.2 billion pesos. Training and Research Program, 215 million pesos. For the Philippine Heart Center, 4 billion pesos. Hospital Service Program, 3.2 billion pesos. Procurement of various medical equipment, 863 million pesos. For the Philippine Institute of Traditional Alternative Healthcare, 206 million pesos. Broken down as General Management and Supervision, 152 million pesos. So any questions, any motion?
Just check na. I don't know if my record is wrong. I only have old building. Walang new building.
Which one? Which Children's Hospital?
Yeah. New.
Old building.
Meron ba tayo?
Old building. Renovation. Building phase 2.
Hindi, old meron, new wala.
New ito.
Kaya nga meron?
Yes, new building phase 2.
Meron tayong pinasok? Yes,
Meron. Galing to sa'yo. Alright, any comments, any suggestion, any motion?
Senator, if I may take this one, PCMC is very close to my heart, so I'm very happy to see the huge increase for the needs of PCMC, and not just that, of the other specialty hospitals. So I thank the Senate, and I also thank Senator Pia Cayetano, who sponsored this. And with that, I move to adopt the recommendations as put forth with regard to the DOH BGSC
Yeah. Any
cluster.
second?
Mr. Chairman, I second our chair with the statement that Cagayanons have been able to be given services, especially by the Philippine Heart Center, the Philippine Children's Medical Center, and the National Kidney and Transplant Institute. We thank the Senate for increasing all the budgets for these 5 agencies. So I support and second the motion of our chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you. So we now go to the Department of Agriculture. We can start with the Office of the Secretary.
For the department, ayun po, napapagod na yung mata ko, lumiliit na, hindi ko na mabasa yung maliit, sandali lang po. For the Department of Agriculture, under the Office of the Secretary, the House proposes an increase of 16.6 billion pesos from the NEP level of 16 billion pesos for the repair, rehabilitation, and construction of farm-to-market road projects in designated key production areas, thereby bringing the total in the HGAP to 32.6 billion pesos. Next would be a proposed 50 million peso increase in the PAEF on the National High Value Crops Development Program, thereby increasing it from 601.9 billion in the NEP to 651.89 billion in the HGAB. Next, and very important for the House, would be the next item, which is to institute a 10 billion peso fund for the presidential assistance to farmers and fisherfolk. This is important because at 7,000 pesos per beneficiary, we will be able to service almost 1.3 million farmers. Next would be Office of the Secretary lang po muna tayo. Yeah. So those would be the 3 major amendments proposed by the House on the part of the Department of Agriculture under the Office of the Secretary.
Thank you, Chairperson Mika. We now present the proposals of the Senate, and this is from all the proposals actually came from our Vice Chairperson Senator Kiko Pangilinan, who spearheaded the hearing of all the agriculture offices. So, for the implementation of Kadiwa ni Ani at Kita program, ito yun. First Office of the Secretary is 160 billion pesos. Implementation of Kadiwa, Ni Ani at Kita Program, 300 million pesos. Young Farmers Challenge Program, 120 million pesos. 121 million pesos. Rehabilitation, repair, and construction of farm-to-market roads in designated key production areas, 16.3 billion pesos. Other extension, support, education, and training services activities, 650 million pesos. Building sustainable agricultural and fisheries enterprises safe through the Farmers and Fisherfolk Enterprise Development Program under Republic Act number 11321 or the Sagip Saka Act, 500 million pesos. The Digital Agriculture Project, 600 million pesos. Establishment of Agricultural Food Hub Project, 2.6 billion pesos. Biosecurity for Agriculture and Fisheries Enforcement Project, 1 billion pesos. PSS on the National High Value Crops Development, 1 billion Development Program, 1 billion pesos. Assets on the National High Value Crops Development Program, 519 million pesos. PAEF on the National High Value Crops Development Program, 867 million pesos. INS on the National High Value Crops Development Program, 108 million pesos. Okay. Yes, quality control and inspection and insurance of regulatory documents, 766 pesos. Animal welfare supervision and accreditation program, 10 million pesos. That's it, Mr. President.
Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, that's the end,
Yes,
you mentioned,
yes,
no?
yes, sir.
Just to mention, the very last one was this representations amendment, and I just want to mention, because it's a first of its kind, it's animal welfare to provide assistance to private animal shelters that have demonstrated exemplary performance in delivering care, protection, and rehab services to animals. This is the usual domestic animal situation where they're abused, walang matakbuhan yung mga tao, walang tumutulong, walang financial assistance. So this is the first small pilot project that will put under DA the responsibility to vet these shelters and then to provide them with the financial assistance to help them do the job that many of them are already doing very well. Yun lang, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Pia. So,
Mr. Chairman.
comments? Yes.
Yes. Mindanao, Mr. Chairman, has a population of 26 million Mindanaonons, comprising 22% of the 119 million Filipinos. Mindanao contributes to our GDP in the tune of 18 to 19%. But this and the net that was provided to us only gave Mindanao, out of the total pie for the DA, 15.2%. So I asked Secretary Laurel on this, and he said that there are also funds lodged in the office of the Secretary to be able to give justice to Mindanao. Imagine 15.4, and we are the breadbasket of our country. 50% of the corn, Mindanao. Coconut, 50%. Rubber, almost all from Mindanao. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to know whether the Senate has considered you being the representatives of the entire Filipino nation in general. Have you been able to see how Mindanao as a region, 6 regions in the island of Mindanao, how we are able to give to our farmers and fisher folks more than the 15.4%? So I would like to ask that here in this forum, because we are now in the BICAM. And so therefore, we cannot continue to have this kind of an inequitable distribution of the DA pie to only have 15.4%. for Mindanao. So we would like to know from our chairman whether that was also taken by the Senate and whether there are also moves to be able to give justice to Mindanao because we have the most number of farmers and also fisher folks. So therefore, those are the things that I would like to bring to this August Assembly of the BICAM. It is not really equitable to only have 15.4. So therefore, NCR gets 11%. And where can we plant in NCR? At Luneta, Mr. Chairman? So yun ang Mindanao talaga ito yung Lano Promise. And yet, 15.4% lang. So yan talaga ang aming hinaing sa from Mindanao to consider Mindanao agriculture na ito All the others are okay. Pero agriculture is really what we are all about, Mindanao. Mr. Chairman, can we have a response on that?
You recognize Senator Kiko?
Yes, with the permission of our chairman. While it is true that the budgetary appropriations are identified as NCR, these are actually national offices who are headquartered in NCR. But their programs and their infrastructure projects are nationwide. One case in point is the National Irrigation Administration. While it is based in NCR and therefore the budgetary allocations would be NCR-based because they are headquartered in NCR, the projects of the NIA are nationwide. So having said that, it is not exactly accurate to say that because the allocations are for NCR and the programs therefore will be implemented in the National Capital Region. So, but having said that, we understand the concern. In fact, because of this concern, there are a number of interventions that we put in place that we would like to address the challenges and nationally. For example, the establishment of a food hub project of 2.6 billion includes a food hub as endorsed by the Department of Agriculture in Mindanao. Where is it?
Cagayan de Oro, Mr. Chairman.
There you go. The biosecurity for agriculture and fishery enforcement, we asked for 1 billion. This would be the first border control for agriculture products being brought in. And if I'm not mistaken, actually the original request was for 3 billion or 2 billion, but one of the projects for biosafety, first border control facility would be also in Mindanao. So there are a number of other items here that are actually for implementation nationwide. And Mindanao will have a fair share of these projects.
Thank you. But Mr. Chairman, the best way to do, for example, irrigation is not to lump it up in the head office. It should already be pushed down to the regions already. After all, the NIA has already, the NIA has already identified what are these projects, line item na yun eh. So ano talaga? I mean, we cannot therefore just depend on being given lump sum to Manila. NIA. Then it should go to the regions, including Mindanao. So that is what we are asking. Because when you put it in the head office, the problem there is that it becomes a pork barrel of the one holding the funds. And you have to plead to them. And we are very far from Mindanao. So that is what we should do. Probably how we can do that this time, Mr. Chairman, so that we will be able to have affirmative action to the needs of Mindanao, its farmers, and its fisher folks. So that is what I would like to appeal to our senators. That clear very clear talaga 15.2%. So how can that be, considering if you go to equitable distribution by population under the principle of taxation by representation, then we should be able to at least get 22%, because that is the population percent of Mindanao. 26 million, which is 22% of the 119 million Filipinos. So that's what we like to ask, how we are able to do that, so that it will be right there, so that people, us from Mindanao will see, okay, ito yung amount. It should already be given to the regions. We can see how much Mindanao will get already. So those are the appeal of those from Mindanao, Mr. Chairman, and of course, Senator Kiko Pangilinan.
Yes, if I may also add, Mr. Chairman, there are budgetary appropriations for the Office of the Secretary, which we believe we pushed for the increase, and there should be a fair share for Mindanao. For example, we increased the PCIC budget by an additional 1 billion, which therefore will be made available to farmers nationwide. The ACPC, we also increased it by 250 million, again to be made available for our farmers and fisher folk nationwide. So these are some of the programs that we pushed for in terms of additional funding, and definitely we should be able to put in place perhaps maybe even a special provision on ensuring equitable distribution of the programs throughout the country.
Thank you for those increases, Senator Kiko. And indeed, if there's a special provision that will have equitable, then it will be okay with us. Equitable distribution in accordance with the number of farmers. In the presentation of Secretary Kiko, we can see that 35% of the farmers are in Mindanao. 35 to 40%. So, and the fisher folk, so therefore, we should have that kind of equitable apportionment. So I would propose that we pass a special provision to have equitable share of those funds lodged in the office of the Secretary. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Subject to the wording, so that we don't, so we can also give the Secretary some flexibility. We agree in principle to the special provision.
Thank you. Let's have a special provision subject to the consultation with the Secretary. Because actually the Secretary realized this when I brought this up in the House, and he pledged, in fact, that there will be more in addition to the 15.2%. He will be giving more. But in the special provision provides so, with a language that is acceptable to the Secretary, then we are very thankful to the Senate and the House for having that provision. Equitable naman ang distribution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Secretary Kiko. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Senator Laura.
I would just like to express my agreement with the points of Congressman Rodriguez, and I'm also wondering why the lump sums are big. In fact, moving forward in the coming coming years, it should be disaggregated. And the more disaggregated it is, equitably distributed in the different regions, even down to the provinces or districts, it's better rather than it's lump sum and it's subject to patronage politics o kung sino ang sinasabing malapit sa kusina. So I agree with you, and especially now with the effects and the impacts of climate change, our farmers and fisher folks in Mindanao need all the support needed. So we would be happy with the permission of the chair to receive a special provision that could guide the funds that are lodged presently in the office of the Secretary.
Thank you. Mindanao would like to thank Senator Ligarda for supporting us, the chair, because you were the one who said to support immediately. But of course, together with the chairman, Senator Kiko. So thank you very much for that, and we hope to have that provision. Senator Kiko, you're in charge of agriculture, and we really would like to get your support. Thank you so much.
You have it, Congressman.
Actually, Congressman.
So Mindanao thanks Senator Kiko Pangilinan. Now we wait for the chairman to also pledge.
No, I think that concept should be spread out in various agencies, not only in DA, but also, let's say, in the PWH or in DOTR, so that development will spread throughout the country, not centralized in Metro Manila or just Luzon. So that's something that we will be looking at in the next budget cycle or in any discussions.
Thank you. Mindanao, thanks Chairman Senator Yun Gatchalian. Thank you.
Maraming salamat, Kong Rufus. So, any comments?
To continue, Mr. Chairman, on another matter. This is regarding our proposal for the farm-to-market road. This is affirmative action, especially in Mindanao, where we have already highways. But the problem is how our people in our far-flung barangays will be able to bring their produce to the city, lowering costs and enabling them to bring their products. So I have been requested by the chair, and I always obey my chair. So whatever the chair would want.
Thank you very much. Thank you for indulging me, Representative Rufus Rodriguez. Before we go to the question on the farm-to-market roads, I would first like to focus the matter on something of great importance to the House, which is the funding for the presidential assistance to farmers and fisherfolk. In the HGAB, there is a allocation of 10 billion pesos for this program, and we appeal once again to our colleagues in the Senate to please help us fund this in the final version of the GAA. The reason being that this is a critical program, one of the flagship programs of the President that enables him to provide assistance, enables the administration to provide assistance to farmers and fisherfolk all throughout the country. Several instances where it has been given in the past, in Navotas when there was an oil spill, in Cavite as well, I believe, also due to the oil spill, when there in Camarines and in other areas when there were times of calamities, especially when typhoons would strike, and this would damage the crops of the farmers, and finally in cases wherein crop prices are so low that farmers get prices below their investment. So siguro po yun po yung hihingiin namin. Napakahalaga po kasi ng programa na ito para po sa ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda. At I will also personally advocate for this as a representative from the 1st District of Nueva Ecija, which is the rice granary of our country. And it is very important for us to be able to have this fund to help our farmers. Siguro po, in more recently, siguro po gusto ko pong banggitin yung nangyari nitong nakaraang cropping cycle na napakababa po ng presyo ng pagbili ng palay at napakalaki po ng nalugi sa ating mga magsasaka. At ito po sana, itong PAF na to ay posibleng maging susi. Malaki po yung papel na gagampanan nito para matulungan po yung ating mga magsasaka na una po kahit papaano ay makarecover doon sa nawala nilang puhunan sa nakaraang cropping cycle at magkaroon din po sila ng puhunan para naman po sa susunod na pagtatanim. Napakahalaga po nito. At siguro po nung isa-cite ko na din po yung nakaraan nung natamaan po ng bagyong Carding, yung aming distrito, halos higit 1 bilyon po yung nasalanta ng mga pananim at mga bukirin. At kung meron po sanang PAF nung mga panahon na yon na agad-agad po na pwedeng mai-disburse para po matulungan yung ating mga magsasaka, napakalaking tulong po sana nun para sa mga nasalanta ng bagyo. And sa parte naman po ng mga magsasaka, napakalaki po na itinulong nito doon po sa mga natamaan ng oil spill. Kasi hindi po sila makapagpangisda. Kaya po ilang buwan po, mahina na yung ilang buwan na hindi sila makapamingwit ba yung term pag malakihan? Pero hindi sila hindi sila makapangawil sa kanila pong mga karagatan dahil po doon sa oil spill. So ang aming pong proposal, ang aming panukala ay itong 10 billion pesos po na ito ay ihahatiin po sa 7,000 pesos bawat benepisyaryo at ito po ay ang ine-represent po nito ay 1.3 million farmers na pwede po nating matulungan sa taong 2026. Kaya umaapela po muli ang aming delegasyon mula sa Kongreso na sana po matulungan po kami ng aming mga kasamahan sa Senado na sa pinal po na version ng ating budget ay maipasok po yung 10 billion pesos para sa presidential assistance for farmers and fisher folk. Maraming salamat po.
May we hear from our colleagues from Mindanao? Sorry, I'm sorry, Senator.
I think Senator Kiko first, and then
If I can, yes. Well, we were reviewing first it was not in the NEP. I think it was considered after the series of typhoons, calamities, and the drop in palay prices, which happened after the NEP was prepared. No, so our concern there was how do we secure, where do we source the money? But having said that, my initial inclination really was to endorse it precisely because talagang hirap na hirap yung ating mga farmers and lalo na sa palay prices, no? Bagsak na bagsak talaga, luging-lugi. Ayaw na nga magtanim ulit, no? And then sunod-sunod yung bagyo. There are some concerns, however, in terms of the implementation. For example, sa RCEF of 2025, up until today, of the 13 billion that was supposed to be released, including for our rice farmers, 6 billion for cash assistance. The entire 13 billion has yet to be released. And of the 13 billion, machinery, seedlings, etc., 6 billion is cash assistance. Hindi pa naibibigay. So, how do we now reconcile giving them an additional 10 billion for 2026? We have not yet been able to give them the 6 billion for 2025. So that's one concern that we were raising. No? The other is the 2024 releases of cash assistance. The COA has found that about 58,000 recipients of the assistance should not have received the amount. And that's a total of about 293 million pesos worth of assistance that went to non-farmers or non-qualified farmers and the like. So these are some of the concerns that we were contemplating with respect to this particular, budgetary appropriations. Now, like I said initially, we were supporting this, and if we'd like to hear out other members of the panel, and maybe from our panel too in the Senate, so that we can try and find some win-win. Compromise. No, the RCEF. RCEF. The Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, 30 billion should be allocated. 13 billion has not been released for 2025, and of the 13 billion that has not been released, that includes seedlings, fertilizers, farm inputs, equipment, and 6 billion pesos worth of cash assistance. So these are the challenges, and the issues that surround our decision regarding the 10 billion additional assistance for farmers and fisherfolk. In principle, we have no argument that they need the support. We don't dispute that they have suffered a lot in the last year and have suffered a lot of losses and need support. So moving forward, we will yield we will defer
Mr. Chair.
to the committee's preference and decision.
Sige.
If I may respond po, with regard to the 6 billion mentioned in the RCEF, I was one of the principal authors of the amendments to the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. And I believe that the 6 billion is tagged under the RFFA, which is the Rice Farmers Financial Assistance. And I think one of the chokehold points there would be the recognition of the funding source. Kasi po ang source po nito would be the tariff revenues. And yun po yung isa sa mga naging problema. Nagkaroon po ng late recognition, late reporting from the part of the POC. Kaya nagkakaroon po ng delays kasi hindi po natin nakikita kung ano yung excess tariff revenues. And yun din po yung isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit in general, since RCEF was implemented in 2019, mabagal po yung disbursement. And I believe with the amendments that were introduced was it December of 2024 when it was signed? Hopefully po maayos na po yun. But I believe it's tagged, it's linked to the funding source in the case of RCEF kasi it's a SAGF po. That's why it might be that. So it's not really the disbursement, it's the source of fund that may be the chokehold point, the choking point for RFFA. With regard to the actual identification of beneficiaries, siguro po pwede po nating kausapin yung DA patungkol dyan. Mas paigtingin po yung guidelines. We have to be more stringent with the guidelines to ensure that only farmers and fisher folk affected by calamities, either calamities or very low palay prices or oil spills and the like would be eligible to receive the PAF. So we can put in those safeguards po just to ensure that this program will be implemented correctly. And with that, I would like to yield the floor to Representative Pepito Alvarez.
Sorry, follow-up lang. Sana i-adapt ng aming Senate counterpart yung requested ng administration na 10 billion. Kasi I can only cite Palawan, kailangan talaga. So, meron mang nagkamali doon, meron mang finding ang COA. Let's institute na lang more safeguards para wag naman natin tipirin yung ayuda sa fisher folk at sa farmer natin. Yun lang ang pakiusap dahil kung makita mo yung minention ni Senator Kiko na nawalaan tayo dahil hindi mayroong mga nagpapanggap na farmers at saka fisher folks, but sa next cycle siguro mas mabuti, mas mababa na yan. Kaya tuloy na lang po natin ito. Nakikiusap kami. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Representative Marcelino Lebanan and then Representative Rufus Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair. Gusto ko lang mag-propose ng amendment na hindi lang 7,000 yung ceiling bawat isang tao. Kasi napakaliit ng 7,000 kasi parang AX na po yan. Kung maaari, maglagay na po tayo ng ceiling. We are dealing here with the backbone of our economy, farmers and fisher folks na bibigyan. Kaya laki-lakihan na po natin yung may bibigay natin sa mga beneficiaries. Thank you.
Thank you, Maino. To respond to that po, actually, this is not something that we will stipulate in the GAA. Rather, it's based on the internal guidelines that the DA has issued when they implemented PAF in recent years. So, ano po, pwede po natin kausapin yung DA kung ano po yung gagawin nila na entitlement per beneficiary moving forward. Representative Rufus Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And certainly, we support the fund for the presidential assistance to farmers and fisher folks. President Bongbong Marcos was in the city of Cagayan de Oro last year to give precisely to our fisher folks who were victims of the shear line. They were not able to fish In fact, there was a deluge of water in the shoreline, and so some boats were destroyed. And then also from the farmers in Cagayan de Oro and Misamis Oriental, and the president was in Cagayan de Oro at our convention center. And you can see that our farmers were so thankful to President Marcos because the president went to them and they saw the president, shook hands with the president. The president has brought government nearer to the people. And so therefore, these are the kinds of immediate assistance that the office of the president can already give when there is a calamity, when there is a typhoon, there are earthquakes, and so which affects farmers and fisher folks. So I appeal to our Senate colleagues to be able to give this 10 billion so that there will be an immediate assistance to farmers and fisher folks all over the country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Madam Chair.
Thanks, Representative Brian Yamsuan.
Yes, as former chairman of the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries in the House of Representatives in the 19th Congress, I really say kailangan talaga the need for additional funding for especially our fisher folks. Sila yung madalas tamaan, bagyo, sila yung laging nawawalan, and of course, dwindling pa yung population ng ating mga fisher folks. Almost 70% ata ng ating fisher folks ngayon, 50 years old and above na ang mga edad nila, at konti na lang po ang talagang pumupunta dun sa sektor na yon. And I think with this additional funding, we can, kumbaga, give them a lease on life doon sa kailangan nila para sa pang-araw-araw. And I support my colleagues, especially the move of our chairman, Mika Swansing, to really give this a additional funding kasi talagang kailangan nila. And we also ask for your consideration for the approval of this budget.
Senator Amy?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Alam naman ng lahat na pinaglalaban ko ng todo ang ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda dahil ako'y nagmula sa isang rural, agricultural na constituency. No? Hindi naman namin mapagkaila yan. Subalit, tinatanong ko lamang, ang pangalan nito, Presidential Assistance to Farmers and Fisher Folk. Kung tunay nga na prioridad ito ng administrasyon at presidential assistance pa ang pamagat nito, bakit hindi sinama sa NEP, which is otherwise known as the President's budget?
Go ahead, Senator Kiko.
Yes, allow me to explain what the Secretary shared with us. No? Precisely because of the impact of the drop in palay prices, and then the series of typhoons, calamities, floods that happened after the NEP was submitted. My understanding is Malacanang felt the need to allocate this additional budgetary support.
So it came after the DBCC had submitted the draft?
Yes,
And,
and because the typhoons came after and the drop in palay prices came after.
well, that being the case, therefore, why did our committee report not include it?
Well, the subcommittee which I chaired endorsed it, but because of fiscal space, and the discussions the discussions were such that may AX na, no, hindi na implementa ng tama yung pag-distribute ng assistance and a number of other considerations. The committee, I deferred to the chairman, but now we're discussing it again, and he's open to my previous suggestion that we include it and endorse it, Mr. President.
Okay, nagtatanong lang naman at alam naman ninyo mas radikal ang aking panukala para rito, kundi ang akin hindi yung one-shot deal na 7,000 na sa pakiwari ko, hindi naman magtatagal ng 1 buwan para sa pamilya ng 5, no? Hindi naman magtatagal yan, hindi talagang solusyon. Ang akin nga para magkaroon ng national wage, farmers wage ang marginal farmers, kasi hindi yung one-shot deal ang makakatulong sa kanila, kundi malawakan at mas mahaba, sustained support dahil ang layo-layo na natin. Ganun pa man, tignan natin kung kukunin ni Chairman Gatchalian. Magmamagic pa tayo para magkaroon ng fiscal space.
Mr. Erwin?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, problem here is, bottom line, we don't have funds for this because it is not number one in the NEP. Pangalawa po, saan ho natin huhugutin to? Saan tayo magbabaklas? Ilalagay natin dito. Pero may mga options po tayo kasi when I was with the DSWD, may mga programs po ang DSWD dito. Yung Kalahi Seats for One. Nandyan din po yung Sustainable Livelihood Program para sa mga kooperatiba. Nandyan din po yung AIX, pag may mga bagyo, they continue to do this. So, may options actually, may alternatibo na po pwedeng pumasok, tumulong ang DSWD through doon sa Kalahi Seats nila. It's a community-based program to alleviate poverty in that community. Number two, yung Sustainable Livelihood Program. Usually, ang ginagawa dito ng DSWD, cooperative, encouraging mga fisher folks, mga farmers to create a cooperative or to build their own cooperative, then lalagyan ng pondo yung kooperatiba na yun. Number three, yung AIX nga na 5,000 ay binibigay usually sa mga calamity areas, yung mga tinamaan ng kalamidad ng mga kababayan natin. So, there are options. Itong three options na ito ng DSWD, Mr. Chair.
Senator Pia and then Senator Tico.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, my intervention is similar to Senator Tulfo's. Of course, he was our former secretary, but I handle the budget of DSWD right now. So, Mr. President, let me start with another committee that I chair, the Committee on Sustainable Development Goals, Innovation and Futures Thinking. The number one SDG is no poverty, and the Filipino farmers are the poorest sector in the entire country. So there is no argument that we need to support them, and it is well worth our time to spend more than a 10-minute exchange on ideas on how we can provide more funding for the farmers. I think it is worth having this discussion. My intervention specifically is, well, first my observation, there seems to be a problem with the efficiency of DA in identifying and delivering the needed funds to these farmers. Clearly, the fact that the chairperson said she had a lengthy explanation on the availability of the fund, and then in terms of the questions on who is receiving those funds. Now, Senator Tulfo had already mentioned that DSWD has similar programs. So, my humble recommendation is that we consider giving that fund to DSWD, because as it is, DSWD has their own share of problems in the efficient delivery. But mas natuto na sila, mas nahasa na sila, mas tinitingnan natin sila. Kumbaga, mas mahirap magkaroon ng kalokohan doon, in my humble opinion. Kung hindi sanay si DA sa ganito, then we're open a whole Pandora's box with this new agency delivering funds that they do not, I'm not aware, but do they have the expertise in doing this? Because DSWD has the expertise. On that note, the LCLP that His Honor mentioned is 4.5 billion under the NEP, and the House recommended this to be 5.13 under the GAB, and the Senate supported this. So pwede natin dagdagan yon. It's just an option because mahirap sa atin na nakakarinig tayo ng pera na pinaghirapan natin hanapin para makarating sa mga kababayan, tapos hindi nakakarating, nakakaltasan. Ang sakit eh. So kung mabibigay natin to sa isang ahensya na mas maaasahan natin, that might be an option. So that's all really that I'm recommending that the body considers, because I want to support the farmers and fisher folks. I shared the concern of Senator Aimee, and I'll include Senator Lauren as well, because we were discussing na medyo parang afterthought naman kasi, dahil taon-taon naman tayo binabagyo. Taon-taon naman na merong another crop na nagkakaroon ng mafia na hindi na maganda ang presyo ng farmers natin. So ba't pa tayo nagulat? Ba't pa hindi pa nasama to sa NEP? So yun lang naman ang mga considerations natin at this point. But I fully support kahit more than 10 billion, maghanap tayo ng pondo. But let's lodge it in an agency that can deliver this properly. That is my suggestion, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. Yeah, with due respect to Senator Cayetano, In the case of Cagayan de Oro, Misamis Oriental, the DA has the expertise more than the DSWD. Because DSWD, AIX, AKAP. But this one is a sector which are farmers and fisher folks. And the fact that the president was able to go there at the time when they were hit by the shear line and the typhoon in Cagayan de Oro and also Misamis Oriental really says a lot towards our government being able to reach out to our people. And so iba talaga ito eh. That's why it is farmers and fisher folk. DSWD would not have that kind of expertise to be able to know because the DA has the list of farmers for every province, every city. So therefore, we are asking that in this particular case, let us continue, Senator Pia, because this is a sector that DA is really on top of.
If I may, yes, in agreement with Representative Rodriguez, there is something called the Registry System for Basic Sectors in Agriculture, the RSBSA, and the Rice Farmers Registry System, which is very comprehensive. Kung minsan hindi na-update, pero ganun pa rin, siya yung foundational database for government agricultural assistance, cash grants, crop insurance, subsidized rice, and mechanization. So kung tutuusin, para sa akin, mas maayos pa nga yung listahan na yan kesa yung mga ginagamit natin sa AKAP at AIX.
Yes.
Mr. President, just a quick response. I defer to the experts, no? Kasi alam nyo naman yung mga farmers nyo. So sa akin lang naman, it was just a suggestion because clearly there have been issues. So I'm so happy to hear na maayos po sa Cagayan de Oro. I'm truly happy about that. Pero what do we do with those, how many? 65,000 wrong recipients?
58,000.
How many?
58,000.
58,000. So what do we do with that? I don't know. That's why I'm just throwing some, if I may just continue.
We don't have the data as to
So-
where, but that was the national figure that was given by COA.
So I mean, I defer, no? It's just a suggestion, but I cannot just not consider that 58,000 wrong recipients is okay. It is not okay because that 58,000 could have, I'd rather na nadoble dun sa mga fisher folk and farmers sa Cagayan de Oro, madoble na lang kesa maling recipient, di ba? Kasi sayang din yung nilalagay natin dun sa ibang assistance kung sa ibang programa, mali-mali din ang pag-deliver. So it's just that. It's just a level of frustration that, you know, we work so hard to find the right funding and then it doesn't go to the recipients. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Senator Kiko?
Yes,
Yeah.
Go ahead. I will yield.
Mr. Chair, mine kanina was just a suggestion, di ba, na instead of giving out 7,000 one time, I mean, we have typhoons every few months. Farmers, crops, they're destroyed pag nadaanan ng bagyo. And then fisher folks din sila makalabas. Mataas lang, malang ang alon, hindi na kagad pinapayagan ng Philippine Coast Guard. So, we give them 7,000 this month, July, may bagyo na naman na September. My point here, Mr. Chair, is like, why don't we give this, sige, kung DA, let's just give it to DA, or like what Congressman Rodriguez is saying. Pero siguro, baka po pwedeng gawin natin in a form of a livelihood. Para kulang kasi 7,000 at one time, ang bagyo, 3 times, 4 times, tumaas na yung alon, amihan, habagat, di na makalabas yung fisherman natin. So, siguro mas maganda kung gawin natin ito. I don't know if the good congressman from Cagayan de Oro will agree with me, na hindi in the form of ayuda, kundi parang sustainable livelihood. It's a livelihood. Like they pull their money together in one community, in one fishing village, para makagawa sila ng isang kooperatiba doon, like what DSWD is doing, para may pinagkakitaan sila every time na hindi sila makalabas because may bagyo, may mataas alon. Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, fishing and farming is already a livelihood. And precisely because it's a livelihood, they need already, when there's an emergency, they need to buy fishing nets because it was destroyed, the boats have been dilapidated. So in other words, these are immediate assistance. And therefore, the livelihood that they have, farming is a livelihood. We don't have to reinvent the wheel on what should be the farmers should do, or the fisher folks. And that is why I'm saying that probably let us continue with this. and probably just have, make the DA probably be more attuned to really singling out and getting who are really qualified so that your 58,000 will not follow. But the concept itself is an immediate need for the livelihood of farmers and fisher folks. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Sir Chair.
Yes, Senator Kiko.
No,
and
just
then
just to add to the points raised earlier by Senator Pia Cayetano, Senator Amy Marcos on the matter of this being a stopgap measure. It is calamity cash assistance to address a real need given that bumagsak ang presyo ng palay, hirap ang ating mga magsasaka. But I share the view that this is a short-term stopgap measure. And strategically, we will have to do this every year, considering every year the storms get worse, get more destructive and the like. And that's why I said this during the hearings, that if this is 10 billion, maybe we should, of course this is just putting it out there, and hopefully in the future we can get the support of both houses to address this. Why not allocate 5 billion pesos for capacity building of farmers and fisherfolk cooperatives? In other words, give the DA the power to manage, to provide developing of co-ops, or allocate another 10 billion for extension service. In other words, expand the extension service capacity of our DA, not in the regional level. Bring them down to the municipal level so that extension service funded by the national government will reach our farmers down to the grassroots. This, I think, in the long run, we're putting money for strategic, sustainable interventions. This is a stopgap intervention. But anyway, having said that, it is still needed anyway. But I think if we wish to address the challenges of agriculture in a strategic and sustainable manner, we have to put more money into organizing them, building their capacity, put more money in extension service so that government can be with them in the grassroots, put more money in, mechanization. But what use is mechanization if they're not organized? What use is all the other interventions, drying facility, if they're not organized? And therefore, strategically, we'd like to see that. And yes, the poorest sectors are the farmers and fisherfolk. Ang national poverty incidence natin is 16%, but in the sector of farmers and fisherfolk, it's 27%. It's pretty much double the poverty incidence in both farming and fishing. And unless we secure our producers, our food will always be expensive. And therefore, for the record, Mr. Chair.
Senator Amy?
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman Gatchalian. Papayag ba kayo kung i-transfer ang 10 billion mula sa AIX o di kaya iwanan sa AIX at lagyan lang ng stipulation na para sa farmers yung 10 billion since we cannot find fiscal base? Pwede ba yun? Kasi ang nangyari ngayon, pumasa yung free funeral. Yung free funeral services na papasok sa AIX yun. Walang bagong pondo yun kasi wala ngang pera for the free funerals. So it's a part and parcel of AIX now. So I'm wondering if perhaps you would like to just carve out a 10 billion from the AIX program and identify it strictly for farmers who are facing calamities or are victims of all sorts of natural and man-made calamities.
If I may respond po, if the question is with regard to the funding source, I will be able to provide Senator Win with a proposal on where this 10 billion pesos will be carved out.
A win-win.
So
Yes,
ayaw
most definitely.
Huwag
Yeah,
tayo
well-
magbabawas ng AIX, yun ba yun?
Well, for me, after listening to our esteemed colleagues, And I agree with Senator Pia, the poorest of the poor comes from the agri and fisher folk sector. And ang problema, they're also susceptible to price fluctuations. No? Pag tumaas ang presyo ng palay, susceptible sila doon. Pag bumaba ang presyo ng palay, susceptible sila doon. Walang calamity, pero susceptible sila sa presyo. No? So, and at the same time, susceptible rin sila sa weather disturbances. No? So, it's really, for me, parang it's a very volatile, they live a very volatile life because of the price fluctuations and also the weather disturbances. That's why I can see a specialized program for them because I think yung mga ibang mga kababayan natin hindi ganito na experience sila, no? Price and weather, no? And these things cannot be predicted, no? Maya pakahirap i-predict yung ganito. So for me, I see the benefit of this program, no? Especially for our farmers and fisher folks. Yeah, so
Thank you very much, Senwin. And with that, I would like to reiterate my motion to include the 10 billion pesos for the presidential assistance to farmers and fisher folk to the final version of the
Madam Chair, you did indicate that you had identified a funding source. Can you share it with us?
I will be able to give it, these will be derived, actually po, lahat po kasi yon. So I will be able to disaggregate it from 10 billion. It might be a little bit difficult to lay out all of it, but most definitely I can
Happy
assure.
to wait, but so far wala pa tayong binabawasan, puros dagdag po.
There's the 4 billion under the NFA as proposed in the GAB. That's a huge source.
DepEd 29.
Not DepEd, definitely. NFA
May
po.
bawas na yung DepEd sa version natin, di ba?
But that's definitely not gonna be the source for the 10 billion. It's the 4.5 billion in the NFA. Kasi po we placed that initially in the HGAB. However, given that there's no enabling law to facilitate that, that can be a big source.
for one is I see the flood control projects. That's definitely the source. We also saw.
I'm sure you're all in receipt of the statement of the Public Works requesting that their budgets be restored.
Yeah.
They've just put it out,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, I saw that. So, and also inefficient utilization of funds from various agencies. As we go along, we'll see those also.
I can guarantee for rest assured that we will be able to we have already identified a funding source for the 10 billion under PAF. So with that, I reiterate my motion to include the 10 billion pesos for the presidential assistance to farmers and fisher folk in the final BICAM report.
If that is the case, Mr. Chair, then I move to approve to be included the presidential assistance to farmers and fisher folks.
Thank you, Senator
Second.
Erwin, and duly seconded by our colleagues. Thank you, Senator Kiko. In fairness to Senator Kiko, he studied this very carefully and recommended it to the committee. So the motion is approved.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Madam Chair.
much to our colleagues in the Senate and to Senator Kiko Pangilinan for helping us as well craft this particular program.
Madam Chair, but before we go to the other item,
Okay.
may
I
tanong
would like
lang ako.
to...
Because this will be a presidential assistance for farmers and fisher folks. May provision po yung Senado na bawal ang politiko magbigay ng ayuda. Kasama po ba ito or may provision kayo na except the president? Kasi ang sabi ni Congressman Ramos, ang presidente mismong namimigay, yan ang pinaka-numero unong politiko po natin.
And we were there.
Harmonize the intention of this program with the special provision, but that's a good point. Yeah, we'll harmonize it.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Kasi baka ma-miss out natin po ito. Napaka-importante po ito. See, this is symbolic when the President gives this aid to our farmers and fisher folks.
We'll harmonize the program with the special provision. Yes, Senator Pia.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just want to put on record that I was messaging Secretary Rex Gatchalian of DSWD regarding my idea that DSWD might be able to assist. And he said there's already a precedent for that, wherein they have assisted DA, and the list of farmers and fishermen were given to them and they would do the payout. So just to put it on record, and perhaps Senator Kiko can just relay this to the Secretary, that if it is an efficient way in some other areas, then why not? So just to put it out there. Thank you.
Yes, we will relay the same, Senator Pia, to Secretary Kiko.
Madam Chair, very short lang to.
Representative Javi Benitez.
I'd just like to share because so coming from the province of Negros Occidental, we're facing a perfect storm. Na may low, poor cane quality, mababa yung prices po namin. We've been hit by the calamity. So I hope na hindi lang sa palay farmers but dito rin po sa ating mga sugar farmers. At hindi natin pwede sabihin na they can do other things because they've been doing this for many years. So kailangan po nila yun. So I hope na makonsider din po ng not only legislative but even the executive for sugarcane farmers. Yeah,
Yes, I understand the amount. The assistance is for all, not just rice farmers, in farmers and fisher folk. Precisely because lahat tinamaan ng bagyo, apart from yung bagsak ng palay prices.
Thank you very much. May I now move to the next topic? So this is with regard to the farm to market roads. In the House version, the total for FMRs was 32 billion pesos, and we would like again to once again appeal to our colleagues in the Senate to restore the 32 billion pesos for farm to market roads.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yes.
The chair.
Okay,
May I just second the motion because this is an affirmative action for our poor farmers and people at the areas of our far-flung barangays. The highways are okay. Mostly those who will use them are those in the cities and municipalities. But then it is by going to the deepest parts of our barangay that we really bring in this particular service to them, and they're able to bring their products and their produce to the markets, making it the prices of products also would lower in terms of prices. And so therefore, I just to also state that Senator Kiko Pangilinan has stated that in Region 10, there is no ghost FMR. And I think mostly all over the country, there are no ghost FMR because it is shown to the people and brought to the people in the countryside. So we'd like to ask that we are able to have the 32 billion and make sure
Being the most cost-effective intervention. Being the most cost-effective intervention security. Farm Act. Special. There are investigation, implementation. Yes. Over to
Wala yung sound.
to up 32.
Here. Yun. It price of it. When we were out of discussion, the my the net. Uh, 2 billion. Sa lump sum we discussed. The coordinate context whatever clear some amount where we came the report needs balik needs at version secretary million secretary the word state how implement control 32 there has to that should be the he was of age. There's some culture and the farm to defer of Vice Chair. With a is the term. The deep traction specific. Good, Mr. Chair.
Technical. And the department technical long are requirement same
That DA EU.
it's also is possible.
We actually look at school building, local project.
Everything, remember? 6 million. You agree. Requires the project dahil the
Part of the board. Will, and DA project. We will have
Suspended.
Tapos na. We're suspended. Okay guys, we need to go. Thanks for watching.